Thank you for joining in into this workshop recording training. This training will start from very basic in this training, and we had a detailed introduction last week. And this will be an interactive session, and we'll try to be as interactive as possible to be engaged in the training and also to take the best out of this training. So my name is Adnan, and I've been in the field of IT for about 20 years. I am a Mcsa Certified trainer for last 10 years. I've provided, I think, hundreds of trainings, and I like training. This training is my passion. I mean, without passion, a teacher cannot train properly. So with training, the benefit that I get is to teach myself and teach others as well. And at the same time, I'm a consultant. As a cloud solutions architect, you will learn the term clouds. We had a discussion last weekend that what is a cloud? Cloud is actually your next internet. Cloud is the next stop to everything in the internet. So we need to become a cloud expert. And this training is the first step in becoming a cloud expert. Okay, so talking about interactive training, so guys, we need to be as interactive as possible. So when I ask a question, please answer, use the chat window and answer the question so that we stay connected. Now, so the first question for everyone is, how many of you were in the introduction lecture, in the introduction session, which was, I guess, 7-8 days back last week? So please type yes if you were part of the chat, if you were part of the intro, so that I know that how much I need to go into introduction. Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So in this, actually, anyways, I was going to go through basic introduction for this training, which is part of this training as well. So this training, and in the meantime, if you have any questions anytime at all during the session, you can type your question in the chat window. And you can type your question in the chat window. There are training coordinators sitting. They will try to answer, and I will try to answer as well during this session as well. So, currently I am a Cloud Solutions Architect. Cloud Solutions Architect is a person who architects and designs the network. Now, designs of what type of network? So designing of So designing of a networking solution. What is a networking solution? And today I'm going to go into basics here as well. So designing of a networking solution simply means in order to give you a very, very simple example, let's say a new doctor. So what are we trying to understand? We're trying to understand who is an architect. The person who is an architect, basically, I'm a Cloud Solutions Architect. Architect in general, we know architect is a person who designs something. So a civil architect would be designing building structures, and they design huge big structures within a city, building structures. In IT, architect is a term used to design computer networking inside an organization. Example is, let's say there is a small clinic. If this is a small clinic and it's a new clinic, and new clinics need IT in their environment. So how do they need IT in their environment? So I mean, any computer that you see within that clinic is connected through a network. So normally when we basically when we basically enter the clinic, there is a small reception, and on a small reception there is a computer. Now that computer is basically connected within the clinic to other computers and other devices. So this computer will be connected to one printer inside. This and then there will be other and any room that you go into the clinic. So there are different rooms where doctors go in. They are all connected to computers, and they're all connected to one server in the background. And how they are connected? Then they are connected through a router. A router is a device. Router is connected to a switch. So these all devices are connected together. So once a patient enters into this clinic, they basically go onto the clinic, and the person standing behind the counter, they would ask questions. Most of the time, receptionist asks a question: "What do you need? Which doctor do you want to see?" and stuff like that. Other questions. So they enter that information inside this computer, and then this information will be stored in this server. And she might need to print that report and provide that report here as well. Now, a configuration like this, where computers, printers, and all of these things are connected, this is known as an architecture. This is known as an architecture, and the person who designs such type of networks is known as an architect, IT architect. So IT, so the additional word here is person who designs such type of network. Now you can take this an example of, this is just a very simple example of a clinic, and there are few computers connected together. And what is the main function of this complete application, this complete type of architecture, so that the information provided by these clients for this organization is saved somewhere. And what is the other benefit? The other benefit is the next time this person walks into the clinic, the person, this receptionist would ask maybe just the last name, maybe just the PIN number, and all the record will be presented here. And where is the all record coming from? It's coming from this server. So basically, using this computer network, companies will give fast information, process their requests in a fast manner. And this is how, and this is just a very simple example of a clinic. And this is exactly the same architecture applied in large hospitals. So large hospitals will have exactly the same architecture. The only thing that will be different is that instead of one server, they will be having hundreds of servers. So in a fairly large hospital, like Trillium Hospital, or there are many hospitals. So in a typical hospital, there are around anywhere from 50 to maybe 100 servers. Now, so the main purpose of a person who's the main purpose for the person who manages this server is known as a system admin. So system admin. So the person who manages this server and the connection between these devices is known as a system admin. So this workshop is basically for a person who wants to become a system admin. And your next stop, once you are a system admin who knows how the server works, how to troubleshoot the server, how to troubleshoot basically disconnections between the servers, is known as a system admin. And being the system admin, and after, let's say you have a 5 to 10 years of experience, or maybe 5 years of experience as a system admin, then you can become an IT architect. So I am a cloud solutions architect. Now, what is a cloud solutions architect? So here I gave you an example of a simple clinic, computers connected together through a server, and so this is known as a simple architecture. A person who designs this network. So my job nowadays is as an architect, I design these networks. Design networks for hospitals, design networks for banks, large insurance companies, And what is included in their bank? What is included in these places? There will be 100 more servers. There will be thousands of these small computers, and there will be thousands of switches. So the main architecture will remain the same. It's just that it will be multiplied by hundreds and hundreds of devices. So a question from Naveed is, if there are 10 servers in a workplace, then how can we identify that my workstation is connected with server number 2? A very good question. But Naveed, the thing is, it's not important that which server a computer is connected to. The most important thing is that the client needs to be connected, let's say. And why I'm saying this, the connection to the server, where the server is connected, is not important, because all of these servers are doing exactly the same thing. So, and at the end of this training, you will learn that once the server logs in, the server starts using the services. So services are more important than servers. This is exactly in order to, give you another simple example. Let's say we all have bank cards. We all have ATM cards. When we walk into a bank, or you go to a teller machine or an ATM machine where you use that card, so it's not important where that machine is where that teller or that ATM machine is connected. The most important thing is that you are getting what you want from this machine. So this is why connection to servers are not important, but the service is important. And at the end of the training, you will get more details. Wasim is asking a question: is there a user capacity in the server? Yes, all servers have user capacity, exactly in the same manner that laptops have capacity. Exactly in the same manner like smartphones have capacity. So most of the time when we use more applications on our phone, the phones become slow, the smartphones become slow. Exactly in the same manner, the computers and servers can become slow as well. Okay. So another question from Wasim is, how many users can connect to one server? It depends on the server and the CPU and the resources. So let's say on a normal server, can handle thousands of users, and that depends on. So a normal server meaning a server with 2 or 3 CPUs and memory. So yes, 1,000. So server is actually made for a multiple user connection, and it can handle thousands of servers. The only thing is that it can basically, it depends on that what type of applications are there too. So basically, to learn all that, we need to go through this workshop. So Wasim is asking another question: we have to buy servers according to the environment? Exactly. That's the role of a system admin, where you will be deciding that what type of server will be required for that environment, and before deploying a server, we do a complete analysis. So guys, with this example, I wanted to give you this example to basically, this is a very high level example, and at the end of this training, we want to master this technique. We want to master this complete technique, this complete design. So at the end of this training, we will be designing a complete clinic network in which we will be installing servers, we will be setting up a switch, we will be connecting that computer, and will be testing this environment. So in terms of now, one more thing that I wanted to give an example. So this is a small clinic architecture, this one, and then hospitals are not different. They are just having multiple 100 more or huge number of resources. They all have hospitals and banks and insurance companies. And nowadays there is a concept of clouds. So cloud is nothing more than a data center owned by large organizations. For large organizations, so this same architecture, this is owned by large organizations like Microsoft. So Microsoft has huge big data centers. So they have huge big data center in different throughout the world. In Canada, they have data centers. In US, they have data centers. So instead of this clinic, now I'm giving you an example of what is a cloud. So instead of this clinic having their own server and keeping the server inside the clinic, what they do is they connect directly to, so instead of having all these three things, they will directly connect. So from here, they directly connect to internet, and from here, they connect to MS Data Center. So MS Data Center basically hosts all of the servers. Now, what is the benefit of a cloud? What is the benefit of connecting directly to Microsoft Data Center and use the server? The benefit for this organization is that they don't have to maintain servers inside the clinic. So they will get top speeds. They will get top support from Microsoft, and they will start using their services. So, and they don't have to invest on a server, because each server is like, if this server, we talk about just this simple server for these clients, this server can be anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000. And for a small clinic, spending $2,500 to $5,000 might not be feasible in the beginning. When the clinic starts working, then it might be feasible. So from this slide, what have we learned? We learned who is an architect. Architect is a person who designs this network. When an architect designs a network, they give it to system admin. System admin is the person who implements this network. So system admin will be a person that will install the servers, that will make the connections, and it will be provided to the doctor.
This call is being.
So guys, yes, thank you I would request everyone to mute your mic in order to avoid any background noise. So architect is a person who designs the network. System admin is a person who implements the network. So when it comes to a cloud so nowadays there are two major type of clouds. There is a cloud provided by Microsoft. There is a cloud provided by Microsoft, and their cloud is known as Azure. And there is a cloud provided by Amazon. And their cloud is known as AWS. So Amazon Web Services. So these are the two cloud providers. So I've worked on both of the cloud. I've been in the field for 20 years. I've worked in virtualization, system center, Active Directory, and this training is all about this part of this slide. So we will be learning Active Directory of 2008, 2012, and 2016. And 2019 servers, the latest Active Directory. And Active Directory actually is the base of all other services. If Active Directory is not working, then nothing will work. Cloud will not work, virtualization will not work. Anything that you see on the screen is basically connected to Active Directory. So this is the very first step to learn to become a system admin. So Active Directory, and I've worked on all of these versions, and in this training, we will try to become an expert by the end of this training, an Active Directory expert. So today's agenda is that we'll go through system admin. So basically, this was a quick intro to a system admin, and from the takeaway from this discussion is that you need to understand who is a system admin. And if you keep a photo memory of this picture right on this here, then you will always remember who is a system admin. So system admin is a person. System admin is a person that basically manages this infrastructure. And then architect is a person who designs this infrastructure. So we'll go through more introduction, and then I'll give you. So today is the first lecture, question answer. You can ask question answers anytime. I will share with you the training schedule as well. So at this point in time, most of you have provided your email address. Thank you. and most of the people have joined with their names. This is excellent. So if you can type in how much IT experience you have currently. I mean, if you have any IT experience, if you have worked with servers in the past, or if you are a programmer, if you are a database administrator or a network administrator, please provide your quick introduction within the chat window. So basically, I'm interested in what is your IT experience currently, the IT experience you're having, or your field of work. Now, so in the meantime, so chat window, guys, the chat window is here. Quick question is, so my question is, how much IT experience do you have in this field? So if you have no experience, excellent, not to worry. We'll start from level 0, which means a very basic level, and then we'll try to become an expert at the end of an Active Directory expert, the person who can understand any type of network. Thank you. Okay. So some of you have some IT experience, some basic experience. It's fine. It's excellent. And this, so in this training, we're going to go through. If you don't have any experience, it is fine, because in this first day 1, we will be learning about IT from the base, and we'll try to build it. We'll try to have a very strong base on this. So this training I call this as breaking into IT fields, because this was discussed last week in the intro lecture. So Sayed is asking that I'm also confused whether this training is useful for you or not. So, I mean, stay tuned, Sayed. I mean, based on, I mean, at the end of the lecture, it will be clear. But if you have any specific question, if you have an IT background currently, then you can ask a specific question. Otherwise, this training is basically for a person who is currently not in IT and want to jump into IT. So this workshop training will take you from level 0 to level 100. Level 100 meaning the person who understands the servers, a person who can clearly understand this architecture. So at the moment, I know most of you, most of the people, most of the participants here, I mean, you can get the picture that when we enter any clinic or maybe any superstore, Walmart, you see, we all see teller machines there, but how these teller machines are connected, they are connected exactly in this manner, that all teller machines and computers are connected, and these computers are connected to the server. So at the end of this training, you will have an excellent idea how this is connected, and this will be start of becoming a system admin. And a system admin is a person who can work for companies like Rogers, Bell, and Dell, where people are logging in, people are using their day-to-day computers, and system admins are basically, they work in the background to manage this network. So breaking into IT is not as difficult as breaking into FBI, guys. Absolutely, this is a very simple technology. If learned in a simpler, simpler manner. I mean, I try to make it. Try to make all of these concepts as simple as possible. And this is not the first time I'm providing this training. I have hundreds of students. We have a special group where all these students are. Maybe some of you might have been referred by some of my old students. So I try to make it as simple as possible. And you will see that each and every concept is like Googling something on internet. Googling something on internet, I mean, that's the most simple thing at the moment. But all these concepts are exactly the same. Now, there are some class rules here. today is day one of this training. I would request, I mean, most of you were on time, be on time, do not miss any lecture. Each and every lecture is very, very important. Take notes as much as possible. So take notes as much as possible. I'm sure we discussed in the last intro lecture that keep a notebook with you where you can take notes. So for example, from today, from the first slide, you should, I mean, by now, if you're not taken any notes, you can take snapshots of this screen, and then you can take a note, or maybe you can draw exactly the same diagram and write these keywords. Because guys, when you take notes, that will be stored in your long-term memory instead of just listening to this to the lecture. So rule number 3 is take notes as much as possible, and all of the students, I want to see your notes in the next lecture. So I want you to, so we'll create a WhatsApp group. So we'll create a WhatsApp group after this day one of the training, and only so the people that are really interested in this training will be part of this WhatsApp group. And in the WhatsApp group, I want you to share your notes. So take notes as much as possible. The more notes you take, the more, so it will be stored in your long-term memory. Be ready for surprise quizzes at the end of each lecture. Before the start of the next lecture, we'll have quizzes. It's not a surprise anymore. And
Adnan bhai, no audio.
hello, can you hear me now?
No, sir, we cannot hear you.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Okay, thank you. So somebody is saying that we cannot hear me. Okay, thank you. Okay. So what we need to do is take notes as much as possible. I want to see the notes. I want to see the notes in the next lecture. There will be a for each lecture, and then labs must be completed. So at the end of this lecture, where we are going to have a lab as well, a lab session, I will provide you step-by-step labs, step-by-step instructions in order to complete the lab. Mid of the training, I will ask you to start preparing an exam. So we'll try to prepare for one exam at the end of this training, take the exam within 2 weeks of the course completion. So guys, why all these different rules? So these all rules are required, actually. These rules are required so that we can get the best out of our investment. We can get the best out of our investment. So definitely, the course is not free. You're spending some dollar amount, number one. Number two, the most valuable thing is you're spending your time. The time, nobody has time nowadays because there are lot of things everyone is doing. So the time is nowadays as well. Uh, so you're spending your time, you spend your money, and we need to get the best out of this time. So in order to get the best out of this time is that so that at the end of the training you should be able to have everything, all concepts on your fingertips. So in order to do this, in order to get the best out of this, take notes as much as possible. So I hope you started taking notes now. You can take screenshots as well, uh, and then we'll try to finish one exam. But at any point in time, if you have any question, let me know. So the class hours for this training, is Tuesday and Wednesdays. So Tuesday and Wednesday. Naveed asked a question, what is the first exam that you need to go for? We need to go for, at the end of this training, you need to go for 70-740. 70-740 is an exam that will, and I'll give you more introduction right at the end of this training, just for your reference. I've given this number. This exam is actually the first exam for the certification MCSA for Server 2016. So the idea is that we should be able to install, configure, manage Server 2016 right at the end of the training. So guys, class hours are Tuesday and Wednesdays from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. 3 hours class. This is 3 hours class, guys, but sometimes we'll go 4 hours. You're most welcome, Naveed. So we'll go 4 hours. I won't try to go for 4 hours because I know the next day some of you might be working, some of you might, if you're not working, then I would say that try to spend as much time as possible. So this is basically 3 to 4 hours in class, and you will be spending 3 to 4 hours at home for the labs as well. So we'll try to complete a lab within the class, so that I call a class lab, and we'll try to finish and need to finish the same lab at home as well. So I call this home lab. So same lab twice. When you do same lab twice with notes taking, with the quiz and the exam preparation, definitely this will become easy for everyone. Depending upon students' progress, we can increase the class timing or even add additional class during the week. So this might be possible as well. So since now we're all running after the same, and our goal is to become an expert of Server 2016. Now, what is Server 2016? In other words, in a very simple term, we need to become an expert of, if I say, need to become an expert of Android phone, Android OS. So everybody understand, okay, I need to become an expert of my smartphone, Android OS. And how do you become expert on something? We need to understand the complete technology. We need to understand how do you do the settings on this phone, and how do you install applications. And we all know that it's really easy to actually nowadays to work with the phone. Exactly in the same manner, we need to understand, we need to have an excellent understanding of Server 2016. Viewer 18 is asking a question. Would we have access to these videos later? Yes, for sure. So if you are registered in this training, you will be provided full access to the video. Uh, this is one request that I ask all of students, that you can watching a video is not equal to sitting in the lecture. So you have to attend the lecture, because in the lecture we'll have a lot of discussions, and I will try to keep you engaged. But when you watch the video later on, you might not be able to dedicate time in the same manner as you're attending the class. So why do we provide videos? We provide videos so that you can follow the labs. So videos are only provided to follow the labs, or in some cases, some students just, they go through the video for the audio purposes while driving, while doing other stuff. So all of the concepts are repeated. Prefer to find an isolated spot. So since this is an online training, and it will be excellent that if you can find an isolated place for this training uh, to dedicate your time. Make sure to have a headset attached and the cell phone, and you might be having that right now. Avoid any possible distraction during the class timing, phones or messages. Class labs must be completed and submitted on time to the class coordinator. Now, in order to complete these labs, you will be installing a software on your laptop. So provide a software. So in the chat window, if you can provide what type of laptop you have, what type of laptop is it? i3, i5, or i7 laptop? So please provide that in the chat window. What type of laptop you have, so that we can provide you the configuration. What software would you need on this? What software would you need on your laptop to do the first lab? Uh, the recommended software will be the recommended settings will be 8 GB of RAM, 8 GB of RAM on your machine, and i7 laptop. So Naveed is saying he has Lenovo i7, 12 GB of RAM, and 1 TB SSD. Wow. Naveed, it seems like you were always ready for this type of training, or maybe you might have taken a similar training before, so you have this laptop. I mean, this is the perfect configuration for any type of training. i7 laptop, 12 GB of RAM, and 1 TB SSD. Okay. Excellent, excellent. Thank you. So Alamgir has a laptop. So okay, excellent. So guys, please, so other students, I would request other students to please share your laptop configuration so that Amin Bhai will work with you to have the software installed on your machine so that the labs will be perfect. I mean, we all know with the proper tools you can have the job done. So job can be done smoothly, perfectly. But if you don't have a proper tool, I mean, if the machine is a bit slow, you're not able to complete the lab. That is basically like a bad taste in the mouth. So we'll try to help you with this complete laptop configuration as well. Class format is interactive. Thank you. So far we are interactive, but guys, I want to see your labs as well. So be ready. Be ready to unmute your mic and also try to explain whatever the question is being asked to anyone. I mean, you will be asked a question. Let's say if I ask a question to any one of you, like the question is, who is an architect? And I would ask you to unmute your mic, and then you should be able to provide me the explanation. Maybe not in day one, but in all other days I ask you questions. And the reason I want you to speak, there is no right or wrong definition. I want to hear what you learned, and this is very important for interviews as well. So if you're confident here in the training about giving an answer, you will be confident within the interviews as well. In an interview, they ask questions, you need to reply back. So we need to have that interactive discussion and interactive lecture. So at the same time, sometimes I want to share. I want to see your lab as well. And in order to see your lab, I need to basically you need to share your screen. So that too, and the group discussion and case studies. It's very good that we have an active audience and everyone is replying back. Uh, Again, this is day one. I'm a bit lenient. I'm a bit on the lenient side. I'm not asking too many questions. I'm not asking you to basically unmute your mic and then reply me back. But from you, definitely there will be questions, answers, explanations all the time. So we'll try to make it a discussion throughout the training. We'll try to make it a discussion instead of a debate. So excellent, guys. Stay active during this session. I like questions, so keep asking questions all the time, and I will try to reply back. Because when you're asking questions, it means that our brains are hot. They are working. So I mean, if that I'm saying that it's not working, it's working, but because of distraction. So we have distractions. A kid pass running beside us. Kids running beside us. That distracted us. Maybe a bell outside the door. I mean, this we need to take it as a in-class training. So we need to pretend that we are sitting in a class, and so in order to do that, the key is interaction. So the key is interaction and discussion, and questions from your side, answers from my side, and lab sessions as well. So, so this, so, so here, so at the end of this training, our goal is to become an expert of Server 2016. We need to become an expert of Server 2016, but we will be installing Server 2012. We will be installing Server 2000, and if you like, we can install Server 2003. So these are different servers. These are different servers. These are different flavors of a server. So basically, and even before that, there was Server 2000, and before that, there was a server called NT. So this was back in 90s. This was back in 90s, between 90 and 96, and I'll share with you the history. That was upgraded to 2000. This was upgraded to 2003. This was upgraded to 2008. This was upgraded to 2012, and this was upgraded to 2016. Okay. So Alamgir is saying the voice is distorted. How many rules cover Active Directory first exam? Okay. Okay, guys, let's take a 10 minutes break here. Why I'm saying that we need to take because I need to dial from my phone, so I need to restart the phone. We'll take a 10 minute break here, and we'll meet exactly at 7:28. So for now, it is 7:18 on your side. We'll join back at 7:28. Guys, it's a 10 minutes break. So in the meantime, I'll fix the voice issue. Welcome back, everyone, and I hope the sound quality is better. And so let me know whenever you feel like sound distortion. So let me know if the sound quality is better than before. Okay. So excellent. Thank you, Sayed. Thank you, David. Very good. Guys, just before the break, we were discussing about what are we going to cover in this training. So we will be covering installation of Server 2013. We will be covering Server 2008 and 12, and we need to become an expert of Server 2016. Now, Server 2016, what is a Server 2016 and why do we need to learn Server 2016? So why do we need to learn Server 2016? So that's Server 2016. Let's look at this here. So I'm going to say, if you can do exactly the same thing on your machine. So I'm looking for MCSA. So this is MCSA is a certification called Microsoft Certified Solutions Associate. So this is basically a person. Who is who is considered as a system admin. So it's considered as a system admin. In the long run, we will need to take, all the participants will need to take this certification. And so in this training, we'll be learning about Server 2016 and why Server 2016. So if I go into this, so at this point, I would say that if you're not searching along with me, if you're not able to search along with me because you have a presentation open, then maybe you can take notes. So in your notes, you can write open Google search and then type MCSA and click on the first link. So if you click on this link from Microsoft, this will take us to MCSA certification. MCSA certification, guys, it's excellent that everyone is so you've put all your mics on mute, and this is good in a sense that you can unmute yourself and ask a question as well, or you can type a question in the chat window. So I'm on this page of MCSA, and within this page there are these different types of MCSAs here. So there is a MCSA on BI, so this is business intelligence. There is a MCSA on Office 365. We're not doing business intelligence. We're not doing this. We're not doing Office 365. We're not doing SQL. SQL is for database administrators. This is again database administrator. This is
into the conference.
This is BI. So guys, whoever joined in, please keep your mic on mute. Thank you. So I still see some of you are not mute, but we're not having any background noise. So for a database, so this is what we are trying to explore. So these are all MCSAs in different fields. So this is MCSA Server 2016. So if I go into this link, and I will share this here as well. So I'll copy this link in the chat window so that later on, if you're not going to this link at the moment, you can explore that link later on. Excuse me. MCSA Server 2016. So in order to become MCSA 2016, you need to complete 3 exams, 740, 741, 744, 742 actually. So these 3 exams are right here. And if I go into the first one, which is, so this is a 740 exam, and if you go into the 740 exam, this is the basically the fee, $165 for this exam. And if I go down here, this is what is required in this server examination: installation of server, host, and compute environment, implementation of storage, Hyper-V, containers, high availability, and there is a lot of other things that needs that is here. So just before the break, somebody asked a question, how many roles are with, I'm going back to the question from Alamgir, how many rules or roles covers of Active Directory first exam out of 17? So I think you meant how many roles are covered. So basically in this, all of the roles will be covered. Most of the roles will be covered in exam, but all of the roles will be covered in all 3 exams. So 3 exams by 740, 741, and 742. So, I mean, going into this link, I just wanted to give you that idea. If you need more information about MCSA exam, you can go to this website. But the goal of today's training, the goal of this training is to become an expert on Server 2016. And becoming an expert on Server 2016 simply means that at the end of this training, you should be able to on a comfortable level, should be able to install the server, able to understand the versions of the server, able to understand the roles in the server, able to understand the configuration of the server, and able to manage the server, and if required, troubleshoot issues. So basically, this is the goal of this training. 2 questions. One question from Asif. One question from Sayed. How many questions are there? So Sayed, I think there will be around 70 questions. And somebody asked a question, what is the passing ratio? Passing ratio is 70%. Asif is asking, why are we going through 2008 and 2012 and instead of 2016? So, the question is valid. Why do we need to do 2008 and 2012 when all of the servers in the market are 2016 and some servers are 2019 as well? But to answer this question, Asif, most of the environments, most of the companies at the moment, they have at least 40% old versions and 60% new versions. So 60% of all companies are using Server 2016. And 40% they are using 2008 and 2012. So in this training, I want to give you a go through of 2008 and 2012 and 2016. So Hadi is asking, are the dumps useful? Yes, the dumps, we call them sample questions. Yes, dumps are very, very useful. Dumps are very useful. I mean, in fact, the dumps are required to pass the exam. So here, purpose of this course to give you an understanding of all the changes of basic operating system administration functions within 2016, how they differ from previous version of Windows Server. Along with same lines, it shows how to implement Active Directory on 2016 and upgrade from 2008 and 2012. So we will be upgrading from 2012, and then understand the changes, file, print, and storage services. Manage enterprise systems. Large network is not an easy task since it requires system admin to master the number of different tools and skills. A system administrator has to perform various tasks, include but not limited to configuring, managing, and managing these services. We have already discussed that. So first of all, we will try to become an expert of Active Directory 2016. We'll do an upgrade. Upgrade is a very important skill in today's system admin or a cloud admin upgrade. We need to know how to upgrade from 2008 and 2016. It's exactly like upgrading from old phone to a new phone. So we need to know that upgrade process. So then an average salary of system admin ranges anywhere from 54K to 116, 120K per annum. And so this is an average salary if you are a system admin. Nowadays, guys, system admin is basically the first step of becoming a cloud admin. Nowadays, you will find more and more jobs of a cloud admin. instead of a system admin. So in order to become a cloud admin, you need to, this is absolutely mandatory required. So a cloud admin, when they post a job for a cloud admin, they basically expect the person who is coming as a cloud admin is a system admin. Because cloud admin is nothing but a person who manages these servers in cloud or in a remote data center. So this is an average salary. So we will learn how to so we will learn introduction to computers, servers, and networking from ground zero. And today we will be doing that in a moment. And understand, install Server 2008, Server 2012, Server 2016. Now, Server 2012, 2016, these three different flavors of a server are required. Guys, whenever we talk about server, and if you're not coming from an IT background, always remember the server as that middleman managing the network, a middleman managing the network. So if I go back to the first slide here, where we are sitting here, that is managing the connection to all the computers. So server is a very, very important entity. And when we are talking about that, we will be installing Server 2008 on this. So on the same server, we will install 2008 and see how does it look like. And then we'll install Server 2012 and see how does it look like, what's the difference between 2008 and 2012. And then we will be upgrading this all to 2016. And at the end of the training, we will install Server 2019 as well. So that we'll get a 360 view of this server. So in any environment you go to, if they are having 2008, you shouldn't be surprised. Because most of the services in all servers are exactly the same. It's just that their interface might be different. So it's exactly like you're having an old TV and a new TV, a smart TV and a previous LED. Nowadays, actually, there are LEDs, and then there are 4K TVs, and then before that there were LCDs. So what's the difference between LCD and LED? LED. I mean, LED was a newer technology, and then we have now 4K resolution TVs. Now, what's the difference? I mean, these are all TVs, but their interfaces are different. So this is exactly the same thing between 2008, 2012, 2016, 2019. So it's not a big deal to have an understanding between these. If you're able to understand 2008, you will be easily able to understand 2012, 2016, 2019. Okay, so Muhammad asked a question. So in the exam, questions are 60% new and 40% old. Old server using. Okay, so when I talked about 60% and 40%, yes, guys, this is a very important comment as well. So when I am moving fast, please ask me to slow down if you want, because I know the people who are starting now in IT, there might be few terms that are difficult to understand. So Muhammad is asking a question. So questions in the exam. So exam is one thing. So if I say exam is one thing, and practical is another thing. Practical. So in practical, when we work on Server 2008, so I'm talking about Server 2016. So I will be referring to Server 2016 all the time. So in terms of practical, we need to understand how to install the server, how to manage the server, and in terms of exam, we need to go through sample question and answers. So we will provide you the latest sample questions and answers, and within the sample questions and answers, there won't be any, within the exam, there won't be any questions of 2008 or 2012. So this exam will be purely about 2016. There will be nothing about 2008, 2012. So this will be all 2016. But in practical, we need to learn 2008, we need to learn 2012, You need to learn 2016, and we will be doing this all in this one training. All in this training so that we can become an expert of all, and exam will only be for 2016. So nothing more than that. So Naveed has a question. I tried downloading some dumps from the website, but those dumps need VCE player. I'm not able to run the VCE player. Yes. Naveed, this is a common issue with the exam. So for that reason, we will provide you sample questions in PDF. So sample questions will be provided to you in a PDF. You don't need a VCE player for that. In any case, if you need a VCE player, then you will need to buy it because there is no other way of using that VCE player. So for that reason, PDF is great in going through the questions. Okay. So in today's training, I will be showing you installing 2008, 2012, and 2016, and this will be all recorded so that you can go through this recording again and then implement the same lab at home. So extend your administration skills in 2016. So this is what we are going to cover: migrate Active Directory to 2016 from 2012 and 2008. So we will be migrating the service called Active Directory from these servers to 2016. We'll learn new concept of group policy. So we'll go through that group policy. We'll manage networking, IPsec. So there are a few terms that might be alien to some of us or new to some of us. So don't worry, we will be covering this all within this training. Alamgir asked the question: if someone handles server or no practical is good to pass the exam? Alamgir, an excellent question, a very good question about exam. So if someone is expert on this side, or complete this training or maybe the 3 trainings for MCSA. So in order to become MCSA, you need to basically take trainings of 740 exam, 741 exam, and 742 exam. So after completing these trainings, would you be able to go for the exam? Answer is no, you cannot. Because, the exam is more on a thorough understanding of all the concepts, not only the thorough understanding, but also the experience you have previously with the servers. So in order to pass the exam, you need to have the training plus the sample questions. So it's not only the training, you have to have a very good understanding of the complete product. And sometimes, and most of the time, trainings are about the configuration of a server, not the business implementation. Okay, and so Wasim is asking a question: if there is a Dell Equalogic server which operates on server 23, this is how the server operates. What is the difference between physical server and 2016? Yes, I will be going through this shortly. A very good question. What is the difference between a server and an operating system? And secondly, it's the same question. So both, yes, you gave me two different way of the same question, and we'll be going through this shortly. So I'm going to start with shortly. You will see that you will have a very good understanding and answer to this question. So I will park that question for the other slides here. So who's this course for? This course is for people interested in getting into IT consultancy. Yes, you can get into IT consultancy with a very good understanding of Server 2016. Administrators that have been managing servers, networking the previous versions and want to upgrade their skills to 2016, and delegates who are preparing for Server 2016 certification. Course content is this, so it's the same thing that I just mentioned: Introduction to System and Networks, and then Server 2008, 2012, and 16. Okay, and so these remaining slides, we discussed these slides in the introduction of this training as well. But here I'll just quickly skim through in order to understand this field of system admin. in order to understand field of system admin. And basically, why do you need to become system admin? Because obviously we all need to upgrade in our career or in the field. And why do we need to upgrade in our career? So that we can earn more. So actually that's the goal of this. So we need to earn more than whatever we are earning now. So in order to become a system admin, so we need to understand in the IT industry, what is an IT industry and how many types of IT industry is there? What are we basically running after? So in order to understand the target job opportunity or the target system admin role, we need to understand that IT industry is divided into three. There are small companies, then there are medium-sized companies, and then there are large companies. Why do I go through this slide? Because guys, when you get a job opportunity, let's say you become a system admin. So now that you are a system admin. So I would say, inshallah, you will be a system admin. A system admin is a person who can understand servers, who has certification as well. So who has certification and a good understanding of server. Now that you're looking for a job, so you will be getting jobs from three different organizations: a small organization, a medium-sized organization, or a large organization. So here we need to understand that I don't want you to be stuck with small organizations. So the people who might be stuck with a small organization, it's very difficult for them to upgrade their skills and jump onto these large companies. So our goal is basically to land a job here in medium-sized organizations. So this is why we need to understand what is a small IT, medium-sized and large. So small IT company, we consider any company a small company that has an IT staff of 1 to 10 employees. So it might be a small clinic. It might be a small clinic, maybe a small law office, maybe a small place. So these people, they don't give a lot of I would say, I'm using a good word here. They don't give a lot of respect to IT staff. Because they think that these IT staffs are just like any other employee who can serve tea in the office, or maybe a cleaner or stuff. Maybe it might be a little bit of exaggeration, but in reality, small companies, they don't give a lot of respect to IT staff. But in this company, your job might be to work with only one server or two servers. So in our clinic example, there were only one server requirement. So one server connected to all of these computers. Now in this company, obviously you're responsible for only one server, so they won't be paying you much. They might be paying you 30K or 40K per year. That is the most. So we are not looking for small companies. But in the beginning, to get an experience, let's say, yes, so more like a technician type of a job. But if you have a server experience in that, so if you're, before getting into an IT, if you have a friend who has a clinic or law office, or you get an opportunity to work with them, just work with them temporarily. Do not sign a contract with them for a year and so on. And do not tie yourself with these companies. But these companies are considered small. Here you can maybe polish your skills. You can give that company the same respect they're giving you. But our target is not going into these companies. The mid to large size companies. Mid to large size companies are those companies that have an IT staff of 10 to 50 employees. Now, 10 to 50 employees, Rogers used to be a medium-sized company. About 10 years back. Their IT staff was anywhere from to 50 to 75 employees. Now Rogers is a huge, big company. Bell is a large company as well. Now there are many mid-sized organizations like large real estate. Large real estates are considered mid-sized organization, where they have offices spread across throughout the city, throughout GTA. Maybe they might have 50 offices, and each office has one server. So in a mid-sized company, your job requirement will be to manage 10 to 20 servers. Again, the word server, guys, whenever I say the word server, remember the clinic. So I want you to have a photo memory of this a small clinic, and a clinic that has all computers are connected to a server. A server is a place where all the data is stored. So this is where the data is stored. This is where all the computers. So if the server is down, it means that these all computers won't be able to connect. So your job requirement is basically to manage 10 to 20 servers and some desktops. Now, what's the difference between a server and a desktop? A server is a server. Server. You can say it's a computer. I mean, there is basically no difference, no process difference between a server and a client. So client meaning a laptop, a person sitting on a laptop. So most of the time these laptops are known as, so these are client machines. Laptop or a desktop, these are client machines. So your responsibility will be to manage 10 to 20 servers there. Their salary range in the mid to large size companies is anywhere from 45K to 65K. Yes, in the beginning, we can target basically to start a job with these companies. What will be your responsibility? Your responsibility is to install the server. Your responsibility will be to administrate, troubleshoot these servers and other network services. Now, when it comes to a server installation at the moment, so guys, all the participants or all of the students that if the word server is confusing you, do not worry about this because we will be learning a server from scratch. But at the moment, you can, in your memory, you can replace the word server to a smartphone. So, I mean, how convenient is it to work on a smartphone? We all have a smartphone, and we all have smartphones. Now, a question for everyone: anyone is having not a non-smartphone? I mean, the older phone without the big screen? Type yes in the chat window. I think most of the people have smartphones nowadays. Most of the people have smartphones nowadays. And how much time it took you, or how much time it took you to basically learn a smartphone? So Sayed is saying no and yes. So what does that mean, Sayed? It means that you have both of the phones or just a smartphone. You have a smartphone. Okay. So yes. I mean, how much time did it took for you to learn a smartphone, guys? I would say day or maybe maximum 2 days. The day you had the smartphone in your hand, you basically became an expert of that. I mean, the very first thing you learned on the phone is to basically dial a number and then call someone. Or you received the call and you pressed that one, and then slowly you learned everything, and not more than a week, you learned how to install applications. So guys, this is exactly the same thing how this server is. And once you go through this, at the end of this training, you will have all on your fingertips. So with the smartphone example, I want you to, for all of the participants who are new to IT, whenever I use the word server, just replace the word server with the smartphone. I mean, this is exactly like smartphone. So today we will be doing a lab, and I will show you how to install a server, and you will be and you will see that how easy it is to install a server. So a question from Muhammad is, in current situation, companies are cutting jobs in almost every sector. How this course will help you create our job? And not every company is like Rogers and Bell. And how is this course will help you get jobs remotely? We can do work from home. Excellent question. Wow, you basically asked the key question everyone is interested to know. Okay, so COVID and coronavirus and situation, the job market are going down. So everything is going down. So guys, I mean, how this training will help you? First of all, yes, I can see a decline in the job market. I can see I can see that the people are suffering from this. There are many people kicked out of their companies due to this complete situation. But still, guys, at this point, at this time, I can see a lot of people who have skills. They're not sitting at home. They're all at work. They're all at work. Even at this time, in this time or in this recession, I would say this is a kind of a recession now going on, but people with skills, they are still employed. So if I go into Indeed, let me show you. If I go to Indeed, and within Indeed, I can search for anywhere. So Toronto, is this how you spell Toronto? Actually, no, I'm not. Toronto and NSW. Actually, this is where I am. This is NSW Australia, but I'm looking for Toronto, Ontario. Why? Okay. So actually, this by default takes me to Indeed, Australia. I'm not going to Australia. I'm going to .com, and it's not letting it go. It's not letting it go. Why is it not letting it go? Okay. So let's connect to Canada. So I'm going to connect to Canada here. I do connect to Canada for my contracts in Canada, and do not ask me again. And I'm going to connect to. So this is a small application that basically simulates where you are connecting from. So I'm now connected to Canada, and let's now basically now go to Indeed.com. So now it's Ontario, Canada. So let's search for jobs, system administrator jobs, and here you can see. Oh wow, that's bad. That's clinical, that is clinical assistant. Then we have system operations admin, $25 job. There is a, oh wow, I should have, actually this is the one, Windows and AD admin. It's a new job, and here you will require 5 years of working experience, and so there are all different type of jobs. Let me actually add me administrator, and looking for Windows. So right here we have Windows System Administrator, Office 365 Administrator. We have, and these are all new. These are all new jobs. This is new. IT Systems Administrator. So here you can find System Administrator anywhere from 50K to 103K. These are not old jobs 10 days ago. So guys, what I mean by this, showing you that in IT, even in recession, you will find a job. The only key to this is that you need to become an expert, that you need to say who you are. I mean, even today, if you change your old resume, and if I share with you system admin resume, you just upload that resume with your name, you will start getting calls from today. So you can see that there is an always requirement, and I'll tell you the reason why there is a job market. And this was only the system admin jobs. If you look at the job for cloud admin, cloud architect, there are even more jobs on cloud admin. So if I say, obviously there are many jobs there. So what do I mean by that? Why is this training important? Even in the recession time, you will still find a job. So I worked in Canada for 10 years, and even so there was a recession back in 2006 and 7, and even I was doing a contract. So all my other friends were busy too. So the key to find a job is basically in IT, you need to be certified. You need to have the certifications, and plus strong hands-on. Strong hands-on, and with your all clear concepts. So clear concepts. So if you have these three things in hand, and you will never be sitting at home. So if somebody is saying that they are in IT field and they're not finding a job, I would say they are lacking either in certification, they are lacking either in strong hands-on, or their concepts are weak. Or maybe they have strong hands-on and concepts, but they don't have certification. Or sometimes they have certification because they are very good they're very good as a bookworm, or maybe they're very good in going through the theory of anything, but they don't have strong hands-on experience. So the combination of these three, you will never be sitting at home. If somebody has certification, strong hands-on, and concept, they're all at work. I don't see any people, or maybe if they are unemployed for some reason at the moment, within 2 or 3 weeks they should be back in the market. So to answer that question, yes, if you are a system admin, even in this situation, you will be able to find a job. Even though I'm not in the market to looking for jobs, but since I'm busy in different projects, I get calls every other week. And how do they know? I mean, I get calls from new recruiters as well. So what are they looking for? They're looking for, whenever they look for someone, based on the thing that I showed you on Indeed, they're looking for people with MCSA skills. MCSA, they're looking for people for MCSE skills. So guys, if you have really decided to become an IT, if you really decided to become an IT system admin, do not stop in the middle. You need to complete all the way to complete all these requirements. If you do not complete these requirements, guys, then definitely you won't be able to find a job. And these companies are looking for basically experts. These companies are not looking for people. These companies are not sitting there to train anyone. There won't be any training. So you need to become an expert outside the company, and then you will find a job. So we were talking about mid to large size companies, IT staff anywhere from 10 to 50 employees, job requirement 10 to 20 server, salary range is this, and you will be required. And most of the time, these mid to large size companies you need these different certifications. Alamgir's comment is, sir, I'm 100% confident that the IT jobs have grown during the COVID, because mostly people are working from home, so the IT people are handling all this. Yes, exactly. That's another reason. That's another reason why. I mean, IT is one type of industry that is common for all different type of. IT is that field that is common to all different type of industry. I mean, IT architecture or IT architecture is exactly the same in banks, exactly the same in insurance companies, it's exactly the same in hospitals, it's exactly the same in airports, it's exactly the same everywhere. So if you are a system admin, basically you get yourself eligible for job for all these different companies. If you're an accountant, most of the time you're only eligible for banks or maybe insurance companies. If you're a doctor, you can only find jobs in hospitals. IT is that field, and I've seen many doctors change their career to IT, and they are more confident. I mean, okay, so not those doctors that are having their own clinics in Toronto or in Canada or in US, because they have large clinic, they have their own clinic. They don't need to change their career to IT. And I'm talking about those doctors that come from different countries, and they need to recertify it, and it takes them 4 or 5 years to basically become a doctor and eligible to work in North American market or UK and in Australia. They change their career, and they are earning like anywhere from 60 to 100, between $100 an hour. So in the large enterprise companies, IT staff is anywhere from 50 to huge companies. These companies are Dell. and these companies are the large hospitals. Your job requirement will be to handle 20 servers, and salary range will be anywhere from 65 to 100K. Your specialization, you need to be specialist of Active Directory, Exchange, and I'm talking about this large companies. And you need to be certified. You need to be certified as well. Wasim asked the question, will you also touch on Windows 10 migration later on? I mean, this is not part of this training, Windows 10 migration, but if you need any guidance on this, if you need any guidance, you can just ping me, I mean, outside the training, and I will guide you through the migration steps here. And all of these jobs required an experience. Naveed asked the question, all these jobs required 5+ years of experience. So what to do with this in our resume? Okay, so this is a tricky question here, guys. Yes, for sure. Company needs to see that you are experienced in this field. Company needs to see your experience in this field, and we will discuss that right at the end of the training. But how can you work with your resume to show that experience? I mean, so in order to get this system admin job, these are the 3 requirements, main requirements. But if you fulfill these requirements, then we need to show our experience. Then resume. How to display all your experience in your resume, and I will help you with that. Amin Bhai is here to help you with that. So we will basically work with you to basically reflect the same experience that you learned in this training on your resume. And yes, they will need to see 5 years of experience. And how do you reflect the 5 years of experience? If you can answer all their questions within the interview, and you are able to perform well as a strong hands-on, show them what they are looking for. If they're asking you one question, what is an architecture, and you're able to go into your photo memory and explain everything that I explained you today, then basically that reflects your 5 to 10 years experience. So your answering to questions will basically reflect your years of experience, and I will help you at the end of this training. So Sayed asked the question, how long does it take for a beginner to take a job as a system admin? So if you need to become a system admin, and I'll answer this question in a moment, let me quickly go through this slide here. So just like we have seen that there are 3 types of IT companies, small company, medium-sized company, and large companies. So exactly in the same manner, there are 3 types of roles as a system admin. As a system admin, you can become a first-level support. Mostly these are help desk, service desk employees. Basically, these are on the front line. Let's say you have your company, and then there is a problem. This person is not able to log into the computer. So this person will pick up the phone and call the help desk. So the person sitting on the help desk, they are required to have some sort of IT experience, a minimal IT experience. A person who can understand what is a server, a person who can understand the connection, basic connection between a server and a computer. That's the first level support. Now, if this person is not able to fix the issue so this person would basically ask the requester to restart their laptop. If the restart doesn't work, then they would ask few other basic questions. Check the power cable, check the networking. This is all for help desk. If this person is not able to solve the issue, then this person will send the ticket to second level support. This is where we come in. This is where system admin will come in. So at the end of becoming a system admin, you will be we will be targeting second level support job and third level support job. So this is where you need a full server administrator experience. You need strong hands-on, and the third level support specialized services. Okay. So now going back to, so here on this slide, so we will be starting now our concepts understanding, guys. So at this point, so this slide basically this slide was covered in the. So this slide basically gives you that understanding of IT roles. So we have already discussed it, but this is just to understand. So overall IT roles in the IT job market, all the jobs are for IT developers, project managers, network admins, and Cisco admins. So these are different type of roles. But the most jobs available at the moment is for system admins. I mean, okay, so there is a tie between system admin and developers nowadays. A few years back, there was less jobs for developers because there was no application, there was not much application development going on. I started my career as a software developer in the beginning, but then I moved into system admin. But now, due to the cloud market and the application market, due to the Android phone or the Apple iPhones, because there are applications in Android phones, there are applications in iPhones. Due to this market, there is a lot of requirement for developers nowadays. But you need to become an expert in that particular area to make applications for the Android phones and the phones applications and the websites that interact between phones and the applications used in the smartphones. So there is a lot of requirement, but you need to become that hardcore software developer. Whereas in IT roles as a system admin, we just discussed, in order to become a system admin, you need to have a good concept of the servers. You need to have strong hands-on. And how do we attain this strong hands-on? How do we clear this point? How do we have a strong hands-on on any application? It's the repetition. So repeat the labs. We'll do the class labs. We'll repeat the same labs at home, and then at the end we do a custom lab. So custom lab, I call this a real lab at the end of this training. This will be like, I will give you an architecture, and you need to complete that architecture, completing the lab. I mean, installing the servers, installing the desktop, installing everything, and then testing that. So this custom lab basically will prove that if you were able to, if you have concepts, your concepts are clear, you have fluent hands-on on a server installation and management. So this custom lab will prove that if you're able to, if you will be able to survive in the market. So at the end of each training, there will be a custom lab. So in order to become a system admin or survive in the IT field, you need to have good concepts, strong hands-on, and at the same time, you need to acquire certifications. So certifications like MCSA, MCSE, and Azure certification. So guys, at this point, anyone has any questions? I know that there are a lot of people sitting here. So guys, somebody put us on hold, and we are hearing a tutu sound. Okay, somebody put us on hold. Who is someone that put us on hold? Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. If you get a call during this, guys, you can always reconnect. So if it's a long call, you can basically disconnect, because this gives us that busy tone in our on the mic. Okay. So guys, let's start with our very first understanding. So what is the difference between a computer and a server? A computer and a server, so both are computers. See, these both are computers. This is how the server looks like, and this is how the laptops look like. Actually, this is a very, very old laptop. Nowadays, laptops are more fancier, thinner, and more presentable. But anyways, the difference between a normal computer and a server is just the number of resources. So the server is exactly like a simple computer. Now, what is a computer made up of? computer, in the beginning, they started with a very, very simple formula, and that formula was input, and you will input something, it will be processed, and you will be provided with the output. So all the computers started with this formula. And the very, very first computer, the very first example of a computer that came into our hands were a calculator, a simple calculator with digits on the calculator and a display here. So what we used to do, we used to just type in numbers, and we all know how to use a calculator. And now the latest form of that, the calculator, is a smartphone. So we have a smartphone. So we have so this complete technology has evolved a lot. Now we have smartphones, and now that is going towards smart everything. So we have smartphones, and now this is going towards smart everything. So by this, what I mean by smart everything, in a very short time, in very few years now, everything will have computers in it. Everything will have computers in it, and that technology is known as IoT. IoT stands for Internet of Things. Internet of Things. So this is where the technology is going. So we started with a very simple formula: input, process, output, and so that gave us calculator. Calculator gave us, and after that it was these desktops, then computers, and then we have servers. Then now we have the fastest computers that we have in our hands are smartphones. And smartphone now it is going towards Internet of Things. Now, this reflection, I want you to have this in your photo memories, guys. I want you to have this in your photo memories. So, for example, if I type the word IoT here, IoT is the next generation of smart devices. With IoT simply means Internet of Things, and Internet of Things will connect everything together. So here in this picture you see that we have that this is your iPad, this is your maybe any smart device, and your complete house is connected, your car is connected, your washer and dryer, your lights, your TV, your microwave, your fridge, and everything is connected. So this will be connected. This is already here. This technology is already here. It's just that it is just ready to become the next normal for us. Now, Internet is normal for us. How normal Internet is for us? You just switch off the Internet and see the reaction of everybody at home, including our cat at home as well. No, I'm just kidding. Including a 2 years old or 3 years old. You give that a small device, a smartphone or iPad to a 2 years old. That little child will be able to open YouTube and watch cartoons. So, this is Internet is a normal for us, and IoT will be becoming the next normal for us. It's not here. IBM, Microsoft, and many companies have spent billions of this. And you will see, and at the end of this training, I will give you a complete introduction to IoT. But here I just wanted to give you a full picture where this is going. And because of IoT, there will be huge job market. It will be a huge job market. It is way huge, bigger than now, unless robots start taking our job. No, actually, you will need some sort of intelligence as well working with humans. Robots are here. Microsoft has built Watson, a complete intelligent person, a computer that is more intelligent than a human. But still, for now, in our next 40-50 years, we're not being threatened by robots. We will be using those. But here, with the IoT and the cloud market, there is a huge market for computers. So the basic question: what is the difference between a computer and a server? A computer and a server, so they all started with a basic formula of input, process, output. Number one, I hope you're taking notes, everyone. Notes of this. And before the start of next lecture, you need to send me those notes in a WhatsApp group. So at the end of this lecture, whoever is registered in this training, seriously, seriously, by seriously mean everyone knows what is the meaning of seriously. So if you're interested in this training, you're part of this training, you will be part of that WhatsApp group. So guys, please take notes, and I want to see your notes. Don't worry about the content. I just need to see that everything is covered in this. So a computer started with a very simple formula: input, process, output. If you're able to understand this, you will be able to understand everything. And in order to understand anything, we need to have that very strong base. Strong base. It's exactly like building a house. So houses and large buildings, they all have strong base. They start from a very, very root. I mean, the taller the building outside, the stronger it has to have that stronger base and deep down base. So that type of base I need to have. So if some of this knowledge is very basic for you, don't worry. This is basically, this will be giving us that concrete strong base. So computer started with a very simple formula called input, process, output. Now, so in order to do this, so for input, process, output, so in all these computer, what is the unit that processes all that information? So that is all processed by a unit called CPU. A CPU, central processing unit. Central processing unit in a computer, central processing unit in a server processes that information. And where do you input? Input nowadays is used by a keyboard. So a keyboard is that device that provides that input, and output is being provided by a monitor. So monitor or a printer. Monitor or a printer. So in this laptop, this is keyboard is input, and monitor is output, and CPU is a chip that is inside this computer. Inside this computer, there is a chip that is known as CPU. So CPU is that engine. So taking an example of a real life, a simple example is difference between a car and an aeroplane. So both have mechanical, both have mechanics, both have machinery inside. So this is a car engine. So this car engine, you can say this is a CPU. The car engine is a CPU. And input is being provided by the pedal and the steering, and output is basically the car is moving. So the difference between, and that's the same difference between a car and an engine. Now, so what is the main big difference between a car and an engine? So car has only one engine, whereas an airplane has 4 different engines, and these engines are way, way more powerful than just a car. Obviously, the car you need to run on maybe maximum 200 kilometers an hour, and then you will get a big fat ticket. So I mean maximum. Yes, I know Ferrari and these other huge big cars. They can run for 300 kilometers per hour, but a normal car basically is supposed to run anywhere between 100 and 120 per hour. Whereas these aeroplanes, these are supposed to, they are normally run from anywhere from 1,000 to maybe 1,500 kilometers per hour, or maybe sometimes more. So in order to do this engine is way more powerful than just a car engine. So the big, huge difference between a computer and the server is the CPU. Most of the time it is that CPU. So this CPU is a normal CPU that can run a laptop and then can run a single user machine. So most of the time laptops and desktops or normal computers are single user machine. These are single user machine, and servers have more CPUs. So the big difference between a computer, these have more CPUs. And how many more CPUs? They can have anywhere from 2 to 200 CPUs, or maybe more. And sometimes they have thousands of CPUs. Supercomputer can have thousands of CPU. They run on water, and I will introduce those servers with you as well. In order to keep them cool, these servers cool, water is used. So those are special computers, and those are very expensive computers. But the huge big difference between a normal computer is the CPU, and this has more CPUs. Exactly the difference between a car and an aeroplane. Our team asked the question: what is the difference between a Dell server and the other brand servers and these servers? Yes, a very good question. What is the difference between different brands of servers? So at the moment, what we are discussing, Wasim, we are discussing what is the basic difference, and then we will be discussing the difference in different brands as well. I mean, this is exactly like, in terms of brands, there is not much difference. The CPU will always be the same. So there are many different types of servers. There are servers from IBM. There are servers from Dell. There are servers from Dell, and there are servers from many different other vendors as well. But they all use two types of CPUs inside. They are either Intel CPU or they're either AMD CPUs. So most of the servers have Intel CPU. Intel is that company that makes the CPU. So if we can visualize this, we can say Intel CPU. Intel CPU or the CPU. So this is a small chip that is inside this computer. And if we can say, and the CPU comes in many different flavors. These CPUs are i7, i5, and I'll just in a moment explain the difference. And I would say, let's search for the word CPU. So CPU, hold on. So by CPU, CPU is a general term used for these computers as well. Actually, basically, CPU is exactly like this. So there is this CPU from AMD. This CPU is from Intel. So mainly, there are two main providers of the CPU. There is Intel and AMD. And Intel. So to answer your question, what is the difference between Dell servers and these branded servers? So these all servers. When we talk about these servers, these all from outside, they are just made by those organizations. So here I would say IBM servers, and here I would say Dell servers. So IBM server and a Dell server. So if I can just bring it side by side and right here. So here, so you see that change by image. So on this side we have Dell servers. On this side we have IBM servers. So outer side they have different designs. So they have different designs of servers. They both have two types of servers. They have desktop servers. They have blade servers like these. So here you will see different type of servers here as well. So outside their design might be different, but inside they all have the three important components. They have a CPU and keyboard and monitor. So from inside they all have either Intel CPU or they might have AMD CPU. So the most important thing in a computer or a server is a CPU. Now the question is how much understanding do we need to have about the CPU? I would say none. We don't need to understand anything about the CPU. We just need to understand the speed of the CPU. Do we troubleshoot these CPUs? No, we don't troubleshoot these CPUs. The CPU, if the CPU is burned, if the CPU is not working, we just replace it. The CPUs are replaced. So question from Wasim's question was, what is the difference between different brands? There is no difference between the brands other than their outside shell. There are different other features too. I mean, there are other accessories. Exactly the same difference between Android Samsung phone or an iPhone. Main purpose of both of them, they are both speed is checked. Their Intel, their inside chip set might be the same, or they might not be the same, but the purpose is exactly the same. But they both have different type of accessories. Okay, so here, from this slide, what do we need to understand? What is the difference between a computer and a server? A computer is a single user machine, difference number one, and a server is a multi-user machine. Multi-user machine. Guys, I would request everyone to mute your mic. We're having a little background noise here. So if you have a question, anyone at any time, let me know. So a computer, so a server is a laptop. Computer, so normal computer is of, sometimes this computer is known as a desktop, and sometimes it is known as just a laptop. But one common name given to all these computers is a client machine. So whenever the word client is used, so here I'm going to say, so this is known as a client machine, C-L-I-E-N-T, a client computer. So whenever the word client is client, you can always remember that this is an end user machine. This is a user that is used on the end side. So from the clinic example, the computer that exists on a reception table is known as a client machine, and it's a single user machine, and it has a limited CPU and CPU inside. Whereas server is a multi-user machine. So it's a multi-user machine. It has more CPUs. It has more number of CPUs. And why? Because it's a multi-user machine. How many users can connect to a server? So to a server, you can connect from 2 to unlimited to an X amount of number, or N amount of number. It can be from 2 to 2,000 users, 10,000 users, depending on how fast the server is. Now, the prices of these servers are different, for sure. The prices of these servers are different depending on the number of CPUs, depending on number of CPUs and RAM. So there are two things that are important in RAM. But before going that, normal computer is known as a client machine. So the next time when I ask you create 2 client machines, so that means you need to create Windows 7 machines. So their operating system of this machine is Windows 7, Windows 10. We install Windows 10 in this. Windows 10 or Windows 8. Windows 8 is again history. Windows 7 and 10 are history. Windows 7 and 8 are history. Now 10 is the latest operating system. So it has an operating system. The client machine has an operating system, which is Windows 10. And servers have operating systems. So the hardware of the server is made up of CPU. It is made up of CPU, and another important part is the RAM. And in a moment, I'll explain what the RAM is. So that's the hardware. So we were talking about, is there a price difference between these servers? Yes, exactly like price difference between these aeroplanes. So we have 737, we have 777. I think there was there's that, I don't remember the number of the, I don't remember the name of the 738 double decker or whatever that plane. Now these are all planes. They can all fly. They all have engines. They all have, yes, A380. Thank you so much. Actually, that's the plane that I took from Toronto to, and I don't remember the number. Okay, so A380. So they all can fly. They all have engines. They all have wings. But the main difference is that how powerful are their engines. So exactly in the same manner, the server prices are different based on number of CPUs inside. So it, and in a general difference is Intel CPU is more expensive and AMD is cheaper. AMD, so this is a cheaper, this is Intel is always expensive. So one question from Naveed is, after getting a job as a system admin, do we have to troubleshoot workstation? I mean, these problems which are not related to network? Yes. So this is where exactly you asked a very good question. So this is where why we discussed the three different type of IT organizations. So if you're working in a mid-size organization, if you're working as a part of mid to large size organization, sometimes you do have to work on desktops as well. You need to fix the desktop issue as well. And in a small IT company, you are always required to fix the desktop issue. Most of the time you will be fixing the desktop issue. And in large organization, when you're working on third level support, so this is a third level support, if you're working on a third level support, then you're not supposed to work on a client machine. But so that leads to another question: how much work do you, how much work do you need to, how much troubleshooting do you need to do in these client machines? Not much, not much. Most of the time, this is exactly the same type of troubleshooting that you do at home. Sometimes internet is not working on this machine. So what do you do at home? Sometimes your kid is saying, my internet is not working. So sometimes you will just restart the machine. And then fix the issue. Or sometimes internet is not connected, so you might need to disconnect Wi-Fi and reconnect Wi-Fi. So that's sort of little troubleshooting. How many servers can a system admin handle easily? Alamgir asked a question: how many server system? As a system admin, remember one rule: if you know how to manage 4 servers, you will be able to know how to manage 4,000 servers. So managing 4 servers and 4,000 servers is exactly the same. So it doesn't matter how many servers they give you. The important thing is that you're an expert of this one server. It's exactly like if you are able to drive a Corolla, you will be able to drive a BMW or maybe a Mercedes. So I mean, they all work exactly in the same manner. But yes, I mean, that example doesn't completely is not a good example, because their engines are different. Mercedes engine and BMW, German cars, and then Japanese cars and the Toyota. So the engines are different. But in terms of servers, if you're able to manage one server, you will be able to manage all servers. Now, what do I mean by that? Because all of these servers will have operating system of 2016. So most of these servers will have operating system. As a system admin, your job is to troubleshoot and make sure 2016 server is working 24/7. And if there is a problem with the hardware, then we don't troubleshoot hardware. We do not troubleshoot hardware. Nowadays, hardware is cheap and hardware is replaced. It is replaced. We don't spend time opening the server and then taking out the cards and then checking the electricity and this and that. No. Behind these servers, these are all portable components. These are all portable components here. And if I can show you, they can be easily replaced. So let's say I'll just go on to server IBM. If I can go onto this server is 36. This is the number of a server. And if I change to images, and if I can show you the back of the server. So right here, if you look at the screen here, I mean, in terms of hardware, this is, so these are extension slots, and this is the power supply. So I'll give you one example of a power supply. On this power supply, what you look at, here is that handle, and here, so here's the lock. You just unlock it, take out the power supply, and replace it with the new power supply. So in general, we don't do any troubleshooting on a hardware level. If something is not working, we just replace it. All you need to do, you need to become an expert of server operating system. Sayed asked a question, A+ certification is also the same as the related course. A+ certification is more geared towards the hardware. So A plus will take you in more details of types of CPUs and inside CPUs and the RAM and more of hardware plus the basic operating system. So it's a little different. A plus is a little different certification. So in this, so here the second slide is what are you responsible for as a system admin? Becoming a system admin, I mean, with this slide, I'm trying to give you an example and I've already given you an example that it's like managing a phone. So in managing a phone, what do? You manage battery. Whenever it is low, then you connect it, you recharge it. Sometimes you do install applications, you uninstall applications, and then sometimes your Wi-Fi is not working, you change to another Wi-Fi. You take an incoming call, you make an outgoing call. So basically, if you know how to do these, you are basically a mobile admin. You are basically a mobile admin. So what troubleshooting do you do? Mostly these are self-sufficient. Most of the time, self-sufficient in terms of these are self-maintaining. In the background, these phones are being maintained automatically. And nowadays, servers management, system admin management is not that hard. System admin management is not that hard nowadays. Why? Because most of these servers are being updated in the background. They are being updated in the background. So what do you need to know? So how to access a server, system admin, how to access a server, and then how to enable sharing on a server if you have folders, if you have documents, how to make sure server has proper connections, then basic troubleshootings, emails, and printing. So basically, a system admin will do all of these jobs in like almost similar to the jobs that you're doing every day on a smartphone. Now, what is Active Directory? What is Active Directory? And actually, before going on to Active Directory, we need to basically understand the difference between operating system and hardware. So here, let me bring up my whiteboard. So this is what we call a whiteboard. Okay. So guys, in the meantime, if you have any questions, how much time do we have actually for this? We still have 1 hour to go. 1 hour to go. We still have 1 hour to go. So we have covered a lot of basics here. So in 4 minutes, we'll go for a break. We'll go for a quick break here. So don't worry. And I hope you're taking notes. How many of you are taking notes, everyone? Just type yes if you're taking notes in the chat window. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so guys, so far, what do we know? What have we learned? So we'll be going for a quick break here, and then after that, will do a lab as well, so that basically we can do a combination of understanding and the lab. So in the meantime, I think Amin Bhai has shared with you a link of a Google group, and you can download that software. So let me go there. So you can go to this link and download the software called VMware. And I'm going back up on chat. So I'm sharing that link again. So I mean, if you have downloaded it, it's excellent. If you've not downloaded it, so go to this link.
Guys, you can download VMware Workstation, Windows 7 and Windows 2008, and remaining ISO you can download afterwards, because we will be installing Windows Server and Windows Client to set up the server.
Yes. Thank you, Amin Bhai. Yes, Ashish, you need to install the VMware. If you can install on your own, it's excellent. Otherwise, I'll show you how to install this. Amin bhai, it's saying that we need access. So maybe if you can get their Gmail account, Gmail, guys, share your Gmail address so that Amin bhai can provide you the access. Yes, so to everyone, it's asking for the access. Wasim is saying he sent the request twice. So guys, Amin bhai is fixing it, fixing your access so that you can download the software and then Muhammad is saying that he got the drive access. And so guys, so Muhammad, I'll show you after the lab. Guys, everyone try to access the link that is provided in the chat and see that if it is working. And after that, I'll show you step by step how to do it, how to basically install, download and install the application. You can install later as well. Viewer 23 saying install later. You can install later as well, but here in the lab so to record all this and you can go through the video again, I will do all of the lab simulation right here. So guys, here in the meantime, while you're getting the access, while you're trying to access it, let's go through some basic concepts here. So today we have learned, we started with the understanding of, we started from understanding of IT architecture, IT architecture, and then we understood what is system admin, and so after that then in order to become a system admin, then we need to have that very good understanding of all of the concepts. We also saw the job market on Indeed job market for this. So some of you, Wasim is asking a question, can I call you? Yes, you can call me, or you can unmute your mic and ask a question here as well, but yes, absolutely, later you can call me as well. Indeed job market, there is a job market for this. And then we understood what else do we learn? So after this, then we started learning. Oh yes, we also saw the IT job market, IT companies, small, medium, large size, and then we talked about IT roles. So guys, why I'm writing these headings here? No voice. If there's no voice here, can anybody, are you able to hear my voice, everyone? Okay, Wasim is saying no voice. We'll say, Wasim, just try reconnecting. Okay. So Wasim needs to, sometimes due to internet, you might need to reconnect. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So guys, you all need to provide your Gmail address in order to get access to the folder. Okay, so we talked about IT architecture, we talked about system admin, we talked about Indeed job market. There is a job market, IT companies, IT roles, and then we started talking about difference between a client and a server. Client and a server. So client and a server, the difference between client and a server, and so difference between a client and a server. Now, in understanding the difference between client and a server, we know that client is a single user machine. And what is the, okay. Wasim, I think, is re-logged in. I would say, Wasim, try reconnecting. Okay. So single user, so client is a single user machine, and the example of a client machine is every day. Thank you, Wasim. So the client, the example of a client machine. Example of a client machine is home laptop. So home laptop, remember. Home laptop, and so servers are multi-user machines, multi-user computers, and the example is servers. Example of this is servers that are sitting in companies, in organizations. So in clinics, so we have servers. In law offices, we have servers. In Rogers, we have servers. Guys, please mute your mic. Thank you. Okay. Now, another difference between a client and a server. So client and a server. So clients and servers, they are different in hardware. So they are different. They are definitely different in hardware. So servers will look like this. So here, this laptop is a client machine, and this is how server will look like. So this is a server, this is a client machine, this is a server. So hardware, we know that there is a clear difference between a hardware and so in terms of software, there is a difference. For client machines, in terms of software, there is a difference. In client machines, we use, so in order to manage these computers, we use, so I would say, in order to manage a computer, the software that is used, in order to manage a computer, the software that is used is called an operating system, or OS, or operating system. The software that is used is called an operating system. Okay, so in order to manage this, client machine, or in order to manage the server, we need something called an OS. So OS is called an operating system. Without an operating system, we cannot work on this laptop. I mean, this is exactly like when you have a smartphone, a Samsung smartphone. So I would say a Samsung smartphone or an iPhone. So both of them are hardware, but in order to work with the Samsung smartphone, we need Android, and in the iPhone they have their own operating system. They have their own system. So basically, that Android, or the system, the software that is run, is known as OS. So the next time when I ask you install an OS, it means that I want you to install the software to manage it. Now, all of you have laptops. So all of the people, all of the participants, all of the students sitting here have laptops. God, I want you to write the name of your operating system here. What is the operating system you're having on your laptop? So most of the operating system might be Windows 10. And on the server side, we'll be working with operating system Server 2016. So Wasim has Windows 7, Naveed has Windows 10, Sayed has Windows 10. Guys, everyone, please let us know, let me know what is the operating system you have on your machine. So most of the laptops that people are using are Windows 10 operating system. So basically this is your operating system. So the software to manage, and so I want you to have a clear understanding of this, that this is the operating system we have. Operating system on a client machine is known as, operating system in a client machine is known as an operating system. So Mohammed is saying that can we do the installation later on VMware? So at the end of this training, so just 5 more minutes. Actually, in few minutes we'll take a 5-minute break, and after that I will show you how to install VMware. And before that, I just want to clear this quick difference between a hardware. So on the software level, Windows machine. So when it is a client machine, guys, when it is a client machine, so from this slide, I want you to remember client operating system. So client OS are considered as Windows 7. Client OS is considered as Windows 8. Client OS is considered as Windows 10. So Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, and on the server side, the operating system that manages, the software that manages the system is known as, so previously we call this Windows Server 2000, and that was upgraded to 2003, then 2008, then 2012, 16, and 19. So we have all these operating systems, and we are trying to become an expert of 2016 and 2019. So these are operating system of old servers. Now, so where do we get these operating systems? We get these operating systems from Microsoft. So Microsoft is the main owner of these operating systems. So here, let's jump on to this next slide here. So now that we understand the difference between, so what is an operating system? OS is equal to operating system. So who makes these operating systems? So Microsoft makes these operating systems. Microsoft is the biggest vendor of these operating systems. So we have Microsoft. So for the client machine, Microsoft clients is Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. And for servers, guys, I'm keep on repeating this information so that we can remember. Windows Server, I would say Windows, so W for Windows Server 2000, I'll start from 2008, 2012, and 2016, 2019, the latest one. So how do we get these operating systems? So we get these operating systems. The question is, how do we get these OS? So we get these OS in 2 forms, either on CDs or as a software or as an ISO. So ISO. So CD, we know that CD is a CD. CD is a CD, CD. Nowadays, CD days are gone. Everything is available in software. So we can find, you can find these Windows 10 CD. Uh-oh. So this is a Windows 10 CD right here. So this is a Windows 10 CD. And there are many different types of CDs here. So this is a Windows 10 CD. So we can either get it on CD or ISO. Now ISO is just a file of that operating system. So here ISO is just a file of that operating system. So it will have, so in this lab, in our virtual lab, we'll be using ISO of Windows 2008. So if I say we need to install Windows 10. Windows 10, we will need a Windows 10 ISO. Windows 10 ISO. And what is an ISO? ISO is just a software version of the CD. So everyone who is new to IT, just remember, do not panic with the word ISO. ISO, I know it's a new word for you, but ISO is nothing but a software version of a CD. So this is a software version of a CD. This is exactly like on our smartphone, when we need to install applications. How do we install applications on a smartphone? How do we install an application on a smartphone? So I'm going to say here, so I'm going to write here Android, Android app. So when we go into Android app, there are hundreds and hundreds of apps available on your smartphone. But when we install them, when we install an app, let's say on this picture, you can install a Chrome app, you can install a photo app, you can install a Gmail, or you can install a games. But these all apps are basically available. These all apps are basically available. These all apps are available with the extension APK. So right here, I mean, if I can write here, if in this smartphone, these applications are available as APK. So we install them as simple apps. You go to the app store and you just click on that and the application will be installed. So for the end user, this is enough. But for a developer who's developing that application, these applications are made in APK and then are made available here. So exactly in the same manner, when we will be creating a VM, when we will be creating a Windows 10 machine in our server, we will need a file called ISO. So we will be getting that file, and where will be getting the file? We'll get the file from the link that is provided by Aminba. So Alamgir is asking a question: is there a difference between Server 2012 and Server 2012 R2? Yes, there is a difference, and I'll provide you with a quick difference here, and that was actually the next quick concept. So time is running like crazy. Wow, man. So guys, I know actually I wanted to keep these discussions short, but since we need to actually learn these concepts from the base, so this is why we have to spend some time understanding this. So what have we learned on this slide? We learned that there is software called OS, which is operating system, and all the computers have operating system. So let's say a new computer made by IBM. So IBM makes computer, is one of the company, and they make different types of computer. They make client computers, and they make servers. Now, the main responsibility of IBM is to make a client computer. So they make the hardware of these. So they make the hardware. So they make the hardware, and Microsoft basically makes the software of these computers. So when you buy a new computer, you get a computer plus the operating system. You get a computer plus the operating system. But as a system admin, you will only get the server as a hardware, and then you will later on install the operating system. So the thing that we'll do in the lab, I will create the VM and install the OS. This is basically a job of a system admin. So Shakil is asking, are we taking a break? Actually, now that I'm thinking, we have half an hour left. So okay. So let's take a 5-minute break here, everyone. And Alamgir, don't worry about this. I'll come back to this question. Yes, probably in the next class we'll go through this question. Let's take a 5-minute break, and after the break we'll set up our lab. So we'll work on our lab. So let's go for a quick short break. No, it's a 5 minute break. Hello everyone and welcome back after the break. So before the break we had a lot of discussion about system admin, and now it's time we can continue with this concept understanding in the next lecture. And now it's the time that we can work on a basic lab infrastructure. So basic lab infrastructure is this. So just to understand here, that basic lab will be exactly this. So guys, if you're present in this training after the break, just type yes in the chat window so that I know that everybody's back. This is exactly like a classroom where people. I need to understand that if everyone is back after the break. So type yes in the chat window if you're present. Type yes in the chat window if you are present. Okay, no one is present. Or no one is able to hear my voice. Anybody is able to hear my voice? Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, actually I can hear my voice.
Yes,
hello?
sir, we can hear you. Yes,
Okay,
sir, we
excellent.
can hear you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please type yes in the chat window if you're present. So there will be a roll call every time when we go for a break. So in the chat window, please type yes. Okay. So a few things to understand about this training before we can download. You might be downloading few things here. In order to go through these trainings, I know it will be sometimes difficult to have only one machine. One machine. So, but at home, if you have a setup like you have a laptop, and then if you have an additional monitor, you can connect. So if you have two screens, that will be excellent for this training. Why? Because on one screen you can view the training and do the labs, follow my labs, and then on your laptop you can complete the lab. So if you have two screens, that will be excellent. Sometimes you can also use an iPad. So maybe if you don't have a second screen, use an iPad or maybe a tablet or something to open the presentation where you can watch. Or nowadays everyone has TVs. You can also connect your TV as a second monitor and watch the presentation and do the lab. This will be very, very convenient because I understand as I do the lab, then you won't be able to follow me. But since this is being recorded, you can watch it later on. So the main idea is that if you can have two screens, that will be excellent. So this is one thing. Secondly, this is our lab setup. So this is your laptop. And within the laptop, in order to do the labs, we will install VMware Workstation. So we will install a VMware Workstation inside. So first of all, we will install VMware. This is the very first step, VMware Workstation. So VMware Workstation, as soon as you install VMware Workstation, this will be a software exactly like this. So this is VMware Workstation, and VMware Workstation will allow us to create virtual machines inside. So inside we can create server number 1, which is server 2012, and then server 2012. And then you can install also Windows 10. So we will install Windows 10 as well. And I will provide you a complete lab of this, but this is basically to understand the setup. So first of all, in order to have this environment, what do we need to have? Ingredients, like cooking, what is required for this? So we need the following software. In order to do these labs, we need number 1, we need VMware Workstation. And this is provided by VMware Workstation, number 1. Number 2, we also need ISOs. We also need ISOs for Windows 2008. We also need an ISO for Windows 2012. We also need an ISO for Windows 10. So we need these ISOs. So second thing we need, so how many things we need? We need VMware Workstation, then we need ISOs for this. And number 3, I need your dedication. I need your dedication in completing the labs. So in completing the labs and understanding the concept. So in order to do the labs, we need VMware Workstation and ISO. And where do we get this all? We can get it from, if you click the link, if you are here, so let me see. Let me show you. So we are all here. This is the link that is being provided. So this is the link. If you click on this link opens here. So this link, as soon as it opens, so this provides us these. So there is an ISO. So this is Windows 7 ISO. This one is Windows 12 ISO. 2012, this is 2008 ISO, and this is VMware Workstation. Actually, this is VMware Workstation. So all you need to do, right click on this and then download. So here you will download. So, and it will say CAT scan for viruses. It's fine. It's from Amin Bhai. Obviously, we're going to have some spy software on your computer and viruses in your computer. No, I'm just kidding. There are no viruses in this. So download anyways. So it is being downloaded. Now, depending on your internet speeds and the nowadays, so it's looking for the place where you can download. You can download on your desktop. So here, right here, you can download on your desktop. It is being downloaded at the moment. Once it is downloaded, and in the same manner, guys, in the same manner from this, download all of them. So you need to right click and download. So this one download, and this one, actually I've already downloaded them, so I'm not downloading at the moment. So once you're on the link and you have the access, just right click and download. You need to download this file as well. So right here, so it is being downloaded. Once it is downloaded, then all you need to do is install the software. So Alamgir is saying, Naveed is saying install the VMware, excellent. Alamgir is saying, how can a laptop be connected? Alamgir, are you asking about how can you connect your laptop with a TV or a second monitor, or is this connected where? So in order to connect your laptop to a TV, you need a cable, you need a VGA to a monitor. What type of monitor you have? It's a simple computer monitor, or is it a TV?
Sir, it's a simple computer monitor.
Okay, excellent. It's a simple computer monitor. You just need to take out the black VGA cable. It's a black 25-pin cable from the back of your other computer and connect it to your laptop.
Okay, so both screens will be connected.
Then it will be connected to your laptop, and then I'll show you how to do it. So rest.
But in that way, I think both the screens will not be the same or
no, they can be different. Okay,
sir, I can try. Thank you.
Okay, so it will be this cable that you need to connect. So, and then you will be able to. So what is the Alamgir? What's the operating system you have? Windows 10.
In my laptop it's Windows 10, but in desktop it's Windows 7.
It doesn't matter. Okay, so we're not using the desktop operating system. We're just using the monitor. Okay, so all you need to do, connect your monitor to your laptop, and then you need to press Windows key and P, the letter P, and this will be displayed. Let me show you actually if I can. Hold on. So once you're connected, you can click the Windows key, and what is the Windows key? Windows key is Windows key plus P. Or you can do Windows D, yes. So once you click, so this is the Windows key, and you can click D, Windows D or P. Actually, you can do Windows D. Windows D is actually, it took all my, okay. So right here. So when you click Windows P, this type of menu will come. So you can duplicate your screen. So it can be duplicated or extend. You need to select extend. So when you connect your laptop to monitor to your laptop with a cable, then just select extend. So Windows P and then extend, you will have it extended. Okay. So in the meantime, everyone, always go an extra mile. For each and everything, all the concepts we are learning, guys, go an extra mile. And what is going an extra mile? Going an extra mile is always watch YouTube videos as well for that concept. So just connecting to computer, watch a quick YouTube video and just do it. Exactly in the same manner, installing a server. If you're stuck anywhere, we'll have a WhatsApp group. You can always message me with a screenshot. Anyone can reply back, but I can reply back as well to help. So, but we need to go that extra mile. Okay. It's asking for the key. Wasim is saying that VMware Workstation is asking for the key. You can start with a trial, Wasim, or there is a key provided within the same Google Drive as well. There is a file that is provided by Amin Bhai, and it has the key. You can use that key, or you can start with a 30-day trial as well. Naveed is saying VGA display settings need to be fixed in order to define monitor 1. Yes, define monitor 1 and monitor 2. When you extend, then you need to define the monitor as well. So guys, yes, we all need to do a teamwork as well. It's a teamwork that will make this successful. So we all need to pitch in. We all need to ready to help each other as well. We all install TeamViewer, so we'll all work in a group, and then we'll help each other as well. There is a time difference between Canada and Australia, so there is I think 12 hours time, 14 hours time difference. So sometimes I'm not able to reply, but if anybody is able to reply in the WhatsApp group, so please do not hesitate. We need to help out each other, and we'll work together. Okay. So
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I've downloaded the VMware, and it's showing in my download folder. So what next step? I have to I have to start to press and execute, or just wait for any
exactly. No. You need to press and execute. So right here on the screen, you can see right here VMware Workstation in the at the bottom. And you just click it, and it will start the setup.
Do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? I say yes.
Yes.
Okay, it says preparing and everything. So
then just follow the wizard, and it will completely install this.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, and so in case we are not able to, we'll continue this lab tomorrow as well, and tomorrow as well. But at the same time, I want you to remember this link as well, and because I made this complete basic video for this, installing VMware and installing 2 servers. So this one, and I will share this link. Okay, I'm not a robot. Oh, what? Why is this asking me? Crossways. 1, 2, 3. No, 1 is left. Okay, good. Okay, so you can go on to my channel here, and hold on. So here you can go to playlist. So within this, you can go to playlist, and this is And there are different series here. You can go through this if you want. But mostly what we need to go here is just the basic lab setup. Where's the basic lab setup? Yes, this one. So the first one, which is this one. So this can help you. We are actually, so I'll share this link with you as well. And we will continue with this lab tomorrow. Probably I will try to join in tomorrow, but Amin Bhai will be here to help you out. Actually, I mentioned this last week that I am moving, but I'll try to be in the class as well. I'm moving from one place to another.
Yes, Adnan Bhai, tomorrow, guys will be having the labs. So today's assignment is to review today's presentations, plus download all the ISOs. We will install VMware Workstation and we'll install Windows Server and Windows Client. Those who have not provided the Gmail address, please text me on WhatsApp or the chat so that I can grant you access to the Google Share Drive. And another request, tomorrow is a holiday. Like you guys want to start early or you want holiday, it's your call. Tomorrow is July 1st. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
So whatever is better for Adnan Bhai, I think we'll go with that.
Tomorrow we'll be doing labs. We will just review I will review introduction to IT. We'll go through that one and we'll do the labs.
Amin Bhai, I have a question actually.
Go ahead.
I just downloaded everything. It's moving forward. It's a VMware Workstation Pro setup. So it needs a check mark. It says enhanced keyboard driver. So I have to check mark and do next or just?
Yeah, select check mark.
Okay, and next, right? It says next, desktop, and install.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So guys, the good thing is we'll be doing on your laptops. It is an opportunity for you to install and install multiple times. Create VMs, delete VMs. This is your practice. So the more you practice, it will be on your fingertips.
Amin Bhai, I have a question, sorry.
Amin Bhai, a lot of people want to start early, so they're asking what time should they start?
Everyone has to agree, shall we start 6? I'm fine. If you want to start 5, I'm fine. You guys let me know.
Okay, Naveed is saying 6. People, so everyone, 5 p.m. is fine for everyone? Some people are saying morning is fine as well.
Guys, pick up the time. It's your call.
I think between 2 to 3 should be better for everyone, if everyone agrees.
Okay, so I mean that there are different timings coming from everyone. Most people are saying 6. So let's agree on 5 p.m. Let's vote on 5 p.m. because everybody is giving different times here.
I'm not available till 4 p.m. Okay.
Okay, 5 is okay, sir. No problem.
And who is Viva 23? I need your details. Viva 23.
Adnan Bhai,
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Yes, please go ahead.
Adnan Bhai, if kindly can you share these pictures with us on the email, because they are really very helpful. We can print them and we can put in front of them and we can go step by step. I check your videos; they are really very wonderful. But somehow I cannot print from video, like YouTube.
Okay.
So
Okay, no problem. No problem. Yes. So, Amin bhai, when can you create the WhatsApp group so that I can start sharing the screenshots?
Yeah, I will create now. So that's the reason I am asking, like, viewer number 23 and user MS. So that please share your cell phone number, WhatsApp number, email address. So I will create the WhatsApp group now.
So as soon as the WhatsApp group is ready, everyone, I will share these screenshots, and I will share the lab as well. Actually, so the lab is something like this. So it will be a lab. You need to create 3 VMs actually. So first you will be installing server 2008. I mean by tomorrow you will be installing server 2008 with them. And the lab is here on screen. So I will share this complete Word file as well. Okay.
Sorry,
That I will be sharing this file. Yes, Human, go ahead.
just what time is the class? Because I didn't get it.
So time is, I think 5 p.m. is decided. Otherwise, if anyone doesn't agree, let us know. Shakil has a question. Human, I think it is 5 p.m. So let's see if everybody agrees. So that if 5 p.m. is fine, just type yes in the chat window. Wasim is saying 5 p.m. not agree. Okay. So it means that 6 p.m. So instead of 6:30, 6 p.m. is fine for everyone. Okay, good. Shakil has a question. So yes, VMware Workstation requires 64-bit. So Shakil, your laptop is 32-bit. Are you talking about the laptop or the ISO? You can, Shakil, you can unmute and we can discuss as well. Or if you want to write here, prefer. Okay, so desktop. So Shakil is saying desktop is 32-bit. Yes, you need to have. Okay, it's fine, Shakil. You need to have 64-bit machine. Now for this, Amin bhai will provide you with an access. So viewer 23, which is Umar is saying that I don't have working laptop until Saturday. So Saturday, which means that there is tomorrow's lecture. So let Amin bhai know, and Amin bhai, if you are listening, can we have 2 team viewer session for 2 users, Shakil and Umar? So Shakil, you're saying that you will make one, meaning you will arrange a laptop that has 64-bit version. Is that my right understanding? Okay, excellent. So you can have 64-bit OS. Okay. Okay, good. So if your desktop can have 64-bit OS, then you can have it on another hard disk. Excellent. Yes. So guys, as soon as the WhatsApp group is ready, I will share with you all of these screenshots plus the lab, and tomorrow we'll be doing the complete lab step by step. So make sure everyone is here and follow the steps. Guys, with a teamwork, with dedication, with all, and I can promise full dedication from my side, and I really value students' time and money. And so if you can provide your dedication, we can go through this, we can become an expert in this.
So then we have created the WhatsApp group chat.
Okay, excellent. Hadi, we're just finished. The class is finished for today. I will share all the information for today's class, and tomorrow we'll continue with the lab.
Guys, tomorrow class will be at 6. So we'll start at sharp 6. So please share your WhatsApp number, the details. I will add you guys to the WhatsApp group.
And Adnan, are you sharing the lab too to the WhatsApp group?
Yes, I will share the lab in the WhatsApp group as well.
Okay.
So create, we will be working on 2008 to start with, everyone. Thank you everyone for today's participation, and we'll see you tomorrow in the class. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
Good night.
Okay, night. In Toronto, in Sydney, it's morning. Okay.